Growing up on this ranch, this is really all I know. You wake up in the morning, you get on a horse, and if you're not just moving cattle to a different pasture, you're getting them ready to pen to work them. As a third-generation rancher, I'm working on my grandfather's life work. He and my grandmother put this together starting in the 60s. Talking to my grandpa, he never envisioned it turning out the way that it has, so that tells me he's probably one of the luckiest people to ever live.
Usher Farm was put together by my parents, Edgar and Helen Usher, just piece by piece. And I feel a great responsibility to take care of it and leave it in even better shape than what we received it. And it was in awfully good shape.
I know Lynette and I came from a slightly different background to be where we are. We grew up, she grew up on this farm, and I came from a rural community, but both of us had different career paths in front of us. We've been out in the real world making money, but the difference for us is here you're making a difference.
Years ago, when we got into this business, Ken and I decided that I would seek the forestry track and he would follow the cattle track. So we're both involved in our industry associations. Through that, I've become involved with the Climate Smart Ag Working Group. And in Florida, we're so excited because we've partnered with the University of Florida, and we've just received funding to use artificial intelligence to quantify the value of ecosystem services. We're marrying technology to things that we've been doing all along.
Agriculture is constantly changing, and it needs to change to keep up with changing industries, changing climate. In agriculture, we've been through a number of sea changes or generational changes, revolutions that have impacted the way that we grow food on this planet. We are now in our fourth generation for an agricultural revolution, and that will be artificial intelligence. We can now make some decisions very, very quickly that humans never could. When you're spraying herbicides, for instance, in a field, traditionally we spray the entire field. We spray the crop, we spray the weeds, we spray areas where there is no plant at all. With artificial intelligence now, we will be able to have tractors that drive through the field and will spray only the weeds. And that has the potential to save us 75, maybe 80% of the total amount of herbicide, pesticide that we would be applying to that field. Great, great environmental benefit, and it saves the farmer money.
American Farm Bureau is the voice of American agriculture, and we were one of the founding members of FACA, Food and Agriculture Climate Alliance. And we formed this alliance so that we as farmers could be treated like partners and help reach the climate goals for our country. We work with farmers like the Griners to tell that great American farm story so that consumers and lawmakers understand what we do each and every day to become more sustainable for the future.
The owners and the managers of this farm have spent many, many years assuring that they were adopting the best management practices that can be employed on their farm to protect and sometimes even to restore the environment to a better shape than they found it.
A big topic these days is the carbon sequestration that trees provide, and the older trees provide a large bank of carbon that it's been storing for a long period of time. The younger trees are growing, so they don't store as much carbon, but they take in a lot of carbon in order to put on new growth. We have multiple age classes on this farm, from 1 year old all the way up to 50 years old. And those trees are planted, yes, on long-term rotation, but they are a crop. And so we do harvest timber, but everything that we harvest is replanted. And typically, what we harvest, we replant twice as many trees to the acre as what we cut. We use prescribed fire for a lot of different reasons. It helps with our risk to wildfire, and it helps provide a very large food source for all of our wildlife.
Most farmers and ranchers and foresters just don't have the time to be an advocate for their own commodity or their own passion. And that's why it's so important for organizations like Farm Bureau to take our message to the policymakers, to the influencers. And we're finding that more often they're using the individuals like us to help tell the story, because it's all about the story. It's all about the lives that we live and our everyday practices that really make the difference.